I've been cautious, so let me, of course, acknowledge the presence of the members at the head table. Of course, Costas Rotoloro. I'd like to acknowledge your presence, sir. The caretaker councillor, Lyndon Summer, representing the Prime Minister. I want to acknowledge your presence. Dr. Brownberg stepped out, but I was happy to hear her speak this morning. And of course, the Honorable Anthony Hilton.
I'm here at the conference at the Pembroke Hall High School.
Representing
today, the 28th of January.
Minister
we have on the floor speaking SSP Ricketts.
And of course, our justices of the peace,
commanding officer
other members
for
of the
St. Andrews South, giving his presentation.
But of course, my own police officers, DSP Minto,
is on the floor speaking.
Inspector Walters,
made time out to be here with us today. We have also the Costas, we have the MP, we have the SP Minto, Pastor Patrick Jordan, who is the chairman for the St. Andrews South. Also, we have with us
so let me say it again. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I note, Pastor Jordan, that the agenda said main activities. So while I was going through my prepared remarks, I was
chairman for the parish consultative committee, Mrs. Palmer. Also, we have the MP, Burke, who have stepped up. We have with us inspectors of police and the vice presidents, and different persons that are here today at our first conference, District Consultative Committee conference. So those who are not able to come today, you will have
you guys as warriors, and I always tell Pastor Francis never to get daunted. Sometimes he's the only person upstairs. And I said, no, Pastor Francis, don't get daunted. And he doesn't get daunted. we're going to take this day by day. We have a blueprint. And as even commanders change, as long as we have a good blueprint going forward, you will see the numbers ticking up. You will see the results as it relates to the collaboration between the citizens and police. And of course, I did make a note of the commitment made by the Honorable Anthony Hilton. Ms. Walters was not here at the time, but you did say, sir, that you were working very closely with us as it relates to the police youth clubs. And I must say that we have been focusing particularly in Riverton City and Colorado to implement some youth clubs that could reach to the more vulnerable audience within that space. So we welcome that commitment, and I want to ask Ms. Walters also to follow up with the members of Parliament's team on that one. But let me say that as a commanding officer for one of the toughest divisions in Jamaica, I continue to be pleased with the partnership that exists between the police and civil society to include our citizens and groups such as the St. Andrews South District Consultative Committee. As I've shared many times before, Pastor Jordan, the St. Andrews South Police Division has over 70 named gangs, with over 50 of them being very active as it relates to crime and violence. We have over 30 communities in which gang-type conflict exists every day. Any given day, we can realize multiple fatalities which comes about because of these unresolved conflicts. When I first arrived in the division, just over 2 years ago, I inherited a vibrant Doing Impact Consultative Committee. This was in Zone 3, this is in Zone 3, And despite the COVID restrictions at the time, the committee continued to meet using technology. There were other committees, Pastor Jordan was trying his best. But I make special reference to the Community Park Committee. I'm extremely pleased, however, that since my arrival, we now have a similar vibrant consultative committees in Zone 1 and Zone 2. So these three zones make up the St. Andrew South District Consultative Committee. And so, ladies and gentlemen, a partnership at this level, no doubt, will be very meaningful to the people we serve. The theme for this conference is bridging the gap between citizens and police. While this is somewhat difficult to measure, I am of the view that the gap is closing as we seek to engage citizens more. Many of the crimes we have solved came through the kind of partnership between the police and the citizens. In fact, many potential crimes that were prevented resulted from the relationship and the partnership we have, and as such, people continue to feel more comfortable in sharing information with trusted officers. The result of what I'm speaking about can be seen in the statistics when we look at last year. If you look at the statistics, it will tell you that at the end of last year, we realized a reduction in murders. 33 fewer murders, or 20%. This is the largest reduction in 6 years. We also realized a reduction in shootings. 32 fewer shootings, or 18%. Major crimes overall reduced in St. Andrew South. Reduced by 64 incidents of major crimes, or 40% overall. This by no means is a clear sign that the commitment of the hard-working police officers in the division, coupled with a strong partnership with the citizens, residents within the St. Andrew South Division, would have borne fruit. In recognizing the gains of 2022, the management team of St. Andrew South Division has taken the decision to decentralize our community safety and security teams. Inspector Walters, as is sitting here, is the head of this team. She's a territorial officer. As such, we intend to have a CSS team in all three zones within the next week or so. That's the intention. This, we believe, is us doing our part in ensuring that the gap between the citizens and the police becomes smaller and smaller. The division successfully prepared, and I'm happy to report that after almost 2 years of hard work, the Dorney Park Police Station is now one of 2 stations certified as ISO 9001. This doesn't mean that we have a perfect system, but a significant compliance of policies and procedures is what you can expect. I therefore, encourage our members and our stakeholders to judge us by this certification. I'm also announcing here that we're now in the process of preparing a Huntsby. It's going to be a very difficult job. But we're preparing Huntsby. Sergeant Reeton, as the 2IC, is here, so she can hear my commitment that Huntsby will be in preparation, along with the Olympic Gardens Police Station, as the next 2 police stations to be certified ISO 9001. As I indicated, Pastor Jordan, that while I sat, I made some jottings, some things I wanted to just bring to the audience this morning. Really and truly, as I think about the theme of shortening, bridging that gap, between the citizens and the police. I'm looking back at the way we police, the traditional approach to policing. When you examine that, you will see where the gap is in relation to meeting the citizens where we should be. The traditional approach to policing is really is made up of these plans. Mobile patrols, which represents the high visibility element. Rapid response to calls for service. In any society, you would want to see, as I indicated before, one, mobile and foot patrols really, which translates into high visibility. People like to see the police around. Well, law-abiding citizens, really. And let me let you into a secret. Even criminals like to see the police around. Because, a state that is unable to secure its people is really a threat to everybody, including criminals. Because a criminal wants to know that he's protected by the law in the event that somebody wants to hurt him. And that's why they will run to the police station when they are threatened. That's why I've had stories where ganja farmers would have gone to the station to report that so-and-so stole his ganja. That is a real story. I've heard of that before. So people like to see the police. When you're on the mall, you want to see police. When you're driving along the streets, you like to see the flashing, the blue lights and so on. So high visibility through mobile patrol, rapid response to calls for service. Most people say, "Well, I call the police and they don't come in." So it's a demand for residents to that. Listen, I want to call the police within seconds. They're there. All right. So 119, whichever the method that you use to call the police, they want to see that the police responds quickly. Now, investigations, mostly on the reactive side, but most society demands that when something happens, they want to have an efficient police force with the capacity to investigate what happened and to bring charges if necessary against the persons who are culpable. Proactive tactics. So, because investigations, in the sense that I just referred to, would be a reactive situation where something happens and the police would investigate and bring charges against those who are culpable. And then, of course, in most modern societies, you'd want to have a proactive approach to policing in terms of investigation, particularly for those crimes that are not necessarily crimes that bring loud noises like organized crime, that eat away the fabric of society, but is not something that makes a loud sound that police will respond to immediately. So that is a proactive type of investigation that most societies demand. So those four plans is what traditional or professional type policing would center around. But over the years, you still have researchers, questioning the effectiveness of this type of policing. I have no doubt that what I just indicated is important and is necessary to safeguard our country. In fact, if we didn't have the police on the road, as I spoke about, high visibility mobile foot patrols, if we didn't have the rapid response, if we didn't have investigative capacity, both reactive and proactive, we would not see the country we have today. We would have a much worse crime and violence situation. However, we continue to see, we continue to live in a country where the perception of police or law enforcement is somewhat, can be seen as negative in some cases. We're heavily criticized in other cases as not being effective enough and so on. So it calls into question